What's up, guys? Justin Morgan here, Carved Up Vegan Muscle. And the last few days I've been, in my interactions with people, I've been getting the impression that a lot of people really are not tracking or not following some of the concepts and ideas about some of the programs that I recommend, and some of the recommendations that I've made for people and what program would be best for them to follow. Now, and some people I think they take offense when I say, you should try a novice program or a kind of beginner program, like, well, I've been lifting for a year or 2 years or 10 years or whatever. And the thing is, well, usually when I say that, it's because I think, or they've given me some impression that they can still make a lot of progress. Now, it is not offensive to follow a beginner program. And the reason, the big differences between a beginner and an intermediate and even an advanced program is that beginner weightlifters or novice weightlifters can make a ton of progress. They can get really strong really fast. So they need a more evasive program that will make daily increases in strength. So, you may add 15 pounds to your squat every week. And if you can make that kind of progress, then you need to, you don't need to, but it would be advantageous for you to do that. So you may get up to, I've heard of people going up to over a 500-pound deadlift for reps on a beginner novice program, and they're just making tremendously fast results in doing that. Now, that's obviously not normal. Most people will kind of stall out. They might get up to where they can get in the late 300s or somewhere, 375 or so for sets of 5 before they really would do well to kind of start looking at more intermediate type programs. So I've also in previous videos mentioned both beginner programs and intermediate programs at different times. But today I just want to talk about what you would do to do one or the other, why you would choose to follow one or the other. So I usually have people start off, unless they're extremely strong, I'll usually recommend that they start with a beginner program. And the reason, obviously, as I mentioned, being that they can make really fast results. So, I know that like Jason Blaha and Mark Ripito in his book Starting Strength, and I'm sure there's others that have kind of given general guidelines that you may want to hit these numbers and then start thinking about going on to like the Texas method or the Mad Cow 5x5 or some small off squat cycle or something like that. But I kind of think that it's better to take that on an individual basis. If you can deload and then start making progress again on a beginner program and bust through that plateau and keep getting stronger, then you're going to make you're going to make much slower progress on an intermediate program where instead of adding 15 pounds a week to your squat, more than that much, about that much to your deadlift, and 5 to 10 pounds per week on your bench press and rows or power cleans if you do power cleans. On an intermediate program, you'll make much slower progress. So you'll only be adding maybe 5 pounds a week to your squat, 5 pounds to your deadlift on average, or maybe 10. I think it's 10 pounds to your deadlift, 5 pounds to your bench press, rows, squats, all those things. And it's just much slower progress. So as often as possible, it's advantageous to stay on a beginner program as long as you can continue to make results. Now, I think there does come a gray area there towards the end where you're kind of hitting some of those really big strength plateaus where you may actually switch over to an intermediate program and make quicker results over time because you were stalled out and overworked so much. But usually on the beginner program, the volume is so high, doing 5 sets of 5 3 times a week. And that brings me to another thing, real quick. Somebody the other day said, those low volume programs like 5x5. 5x5 is an extremely high volume program. It's low volume per day. So if you're only doing 5 sets of 5 reps on squats 1 day a week at working weights, then that would be low volume, I agree. But considering that you're doing overall, you're doing 15 sets of 5 or 75 reps at a working weight, which would be much more weight than you'd be able to push if you were doing it once a week, then it's very high volume. The person that said that I respect immensely, but I guess I just strongly disagree with their insinuation there. But so anyways, on a high volume program though, moving into an intermediate program where the volume is lower, you may actualize some of the gains that you actually made on the higher volume, but towards the end of that higher volume phase you may have been burn out. That's a regular thing that I see and that I've experienced. I go from something that's kind of high volume down to a low volume, and suddenly my strength takes off. It's not that the low volume program made me stronger or made me grow muscle better. It's just that I was too far overreaching with the volume that I was doing, and I had to cut it back. So anyways, hope that was helpful to somebody if you're thinking about where you might be in terms of being an intermediate or a beginner weightlifter. It's kind of rare that somebody talks about becoming an advanced. Those would be like the Brandon Lillies of the world, and they're not going to click on my video to ask for advice. So you guys take it easy, and I'll talk to you next time. If you found it helpful or you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. Take it easy.